Alright, what's up you guys? It's your boy Martin again, and hope you guys liked that little mini intro I had. I have McMaster interviews coming up for my Master of Physiotherapy, so I thought I'd bring you through my interview workflow. And to be honest, this is the first grad school interview I've had, so I'm not too sure what to expect, but at the same time, it's recorded and it's online, so it's not that much pressure. And the way I would prepare for the interviews wouldn't really change anyways. And also with the KinCo program, I have a pretty good idea of the type of interview questions people ask, as well as the responses. And a little disclaimer, this isn't to say that this way is the only way, it's just what's worked for me over the past couple of years. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any different ways you prepare for your interviews or what's been working for you, and I'll check them out. Let's get on to the video. So the first step I take usually for preparing for interviews is doing your research about the company or school. More specifically, what kind of people they're hiring, as well as what makes the company unique. And in terms of why you want to know what makes a company unique, you sort of want to have a few facts or a few ideas in mind for the off chance that the interviewer does actually ask you a question about their company. And you definitely don't want to get stumped on that. So researching about the company helps you, one, learn more about the company itself, as well as shows the interviewer that you've done the work in terms of preparing for the interview. And what I usually do is I usually go on to the company website. So for my McMaster interview, I would usually go on the McMaster Physiotherapy website and just take notes on what I feel like would be important, as well as I would also go through their YouTube or Instagram. So for YouTube, there are sometimes webinars that they have about the program, and sometimes you can get additional information about the program or some interesting facts. So after I've done my preliminary research about the company, I would then rack up interview questions. Since I've had interviews in the past, I already have a decent amount of interview questions lined up, but since this one is a grad school interview, I would probably try and find more interview questions related to physiotherapy, and maybe even some med questions, to be honest. So in terms of interview questions you would come across, you would probably have your situational, ethical, personal, some policy questions, and more so questions about the program you're entering. So for me, for physio, I would try and find more physio-related situational questions as well. And I usually scroll through YouTube, websites, as well as forums to try and get like a sort of master copy of the interview questions. And last thing I want to do is in the interview get stuck on a question, not know how to respond, and freeze essentially. And then once I've gathered all the company facts and attributes as well as the interview questions, I would then compare these to the personal experiences that I've had. So I would try and look into my work experience and my extracurriculars and try and link these and align these so they flow into both the questions as well as the attributes the company is looking for. And by combining these and aligning these, it shows and gives reasons as to why you'd be a good fit for the program. And I think we all get a little too caught up and feel like that we're just normal and there's nothing special or unique about us, or none of your experiences displayed much, and that's normal. What I find to help is to think with a beginner's mindset. And so a beginner's mindset is basically dropping what your preconceptions are about experiences and looking at them with an open mind and fresh eyes. And an example for me would be that I didn't think that being on the Waterloo varsity badminton team was much of an accomplishment, but I took a beginner's mindset, and that being on the badminton team has given me involvement and discipline. And it's these little things. So taking a step back and looking at the experience as a whole with a beginner's mindset definitely gives you a different perspective on these kinds of experiences. Because it's these little unique experiences that differentiate yourself from the other applicants. And it's just about leveraging these experiences to the interviewer. And honestly, the earlier you start preparing in terms of this step, it gives you a lot more time to try and figure out what attributes you displayed in different scenarios or specific scenarios in each personal experience. And then after going over my experiences, I try and provide key points for the interview questions as well as the attributes from the company. I try not to write down everything I'm going to say for each question, because I find if I do that, I end up unconsciously memorizing what I'm going to say, and interviewers can tell when you've memorized your answers. And it also doesn't make you as genuine as you can be. And once you've gotten all the key points, it's just practice. Practice, practice, practice. What I'll usually end up doing is I'll I'll try and get my friends to ask me these questions, and I'll even get professionals in the field to ask me a few questions so I could practice with them as well. And it's all about practicing the same way you would in the actual interview. So for example, if I had an in-person interview, I would try and do more in-person practice with this COVID. So in-person interviews isn't even a thing. And for online interviews, I would talk with my friends online to try and have a similar setting as to when I actually have my interview. But in these scenarios, I would say I try not to practice too much to the point where, again, I memorize my lines. But the times I do practice, I try and hit those key points so that they get across to the interviewer. And I also try to focus on tonality. I feel like tonality plays a big role in terms of the engagement you have with the interviewer. Because if you think about it, they're going through tens of hundreds of interviews and you want to stand out from the other applicants. And I feel like working on your tonality is just a simple step you can take towards making yourself stand out. And my last step would be the actual interview day. And what I tend to do is I usually try and have a workout in the morning or an hour or two before my interview. And what this does, for me at least, helps get rid of the anxiety that usually comes with having the interview, and it also makes me feel more relaxed and more alert. And I also usually like to do a run over of a few of the more challenging or tricky questions that I have. And I don't really want to go through all the questions because it's a pretty big list. Usually I try and have like a stress-free day, just chilling. But yeah, that's it. These are the steps I usually take to prepare for interviews. And if you like this video, leave a like, helps with the algorithm, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I'm going to try and post videos every Monday, so stay tuned for that. Peace.